Let's just wrap our head around this. God is fair and just, but according to human thinking, it may not be fair to our understanding. Is it fair to a lot of people that God has already judged children that are not even born yet, and they're going to be judged and go to hell forever, burning in the fire forever? That God would create creatures to pour his wrath on? Do you know the Bible teaches us that? That he creates objects of wrath so that somebody will be the focal point of his wrath. He's got to get mad at somebody, right? Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you see why people listen to some of this who don't have any understanding, turn off this channel? Do you see why I get a lot of ridicule and people, accuse me of saying things that I'm not saying and all this business? Because, they just don't. It takes time to grasp what we're grasping here. There are generations coming up in the millennial kingdom that are reserved for hell. Children that are not even born yet. Is that fair? Is that just? Of course it is. Why? Because it's God's will. That's why. I don't think it's fair in my human understanding, but I'm not God, therefore I submit to his will. Do you see how that works? You see how you submit to God and you still trust him and you still worship him and you still love him? I've had people will say, if God would be like that, well then I don't want to worship a God who would do that. You ever hear somebody say that? You try to point out something in Scripture about God, even Christians, and Christians said, no, if God was like that, I wouldn't follow him. God's not like that. So they build up an image of God. They create a God that's just not the real, true, living God. That's not my God. My God would never do that. Really? The God that I follow comes from the Bible. Do I like it? No, I don't. I'm going to be honest. I don't like some of the stuff that I'm learning, but that's irrelevant to my worshiping him. Do you understand that? Do you think Abraham liked that God commanded him to sacrifice his only begotten son, the son that he loved, Isaac? He did have another son, but it's his only son because it's the one from Rebekah. His only son from Rebekah that he loved, right? I think that's how it goes. Or it wasn't Rebekah, it was Rachel. One of the two. I keep getting those two mixed up. But the point is, brothers and sisters, what was I saying? I forgot what I was saying. Do you think Abraham liked being told to kill his son? How many of you think that was a joyful moment for Abraham? No. How many of you understand that it's irrelevant that you like what God commands? It's irrelevant that you like God is going to kill a bunch of kids that aren't even born yet. It's irrelevant if you don't like that. It's irrelevant to me worshiping him, to me honoring him in reverence, in me respecting him. It's irrelevant. You got to wrap your head around the difference between you and him. Yeah, exactly. That's what we got to do when we can't comprehend God manipulating Satan to cause David to sin, when we think God would never do something like that. It's irrelevant what we think. It's in Scripture. It's irrelevant. And now we can fully understand why God cannot sin, because even if he commanded somebody or allowed or even wanted somebody to commit adultery, he's righteous for doing something like that. He's righteous for not fulfilling the law and allowing David to live. He's righteous for not fulfilling the law that he put down on earth. He's righteous for not fulfilling the law and allowing Judah to not wash before the Passover. He's righteous for breaking that law apart, for breaking those parts. Right? He's righteous. Get your head around it. Wrap your head around it. He's righteous no matter what. So I'm just, I'm glad I'm getting that out. I hope that I can, edit this video and use it anytime somebody doesn't understand what I'm saying, and just really isolate this part for those people. But let's look at some other scriptures. I wanted to create a folder called Does God Sin? And have a whole bunch of different scriptures that show puzzling areas of the Bible where God is doing something very mysterious that looks like, oh, he's up to something. God's hiding something, right? And there's God does that on purpose. In the scriptures, atheists have a field day in the Bible. Atheists know the Bible more than you guys do. They know parts in the Bible where God did something and it's clear that he did it, but they use it to blame God and accuse God and to try to make him look bad, when really we should be seeing those parts and worshiping God for his sovereignty, fearing his name because of those things even more.